members themselves.
Excellent. And Tania, what should we pay attention to now? What are new problems that all of this in some ways creates?
Yeah, well, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but now you've got this fragmented situation where you have lots of different cloud-based applications, each with their own security and their own formal APIs. And so how do you tie it back so you have a centralized security framework? But then from a data perspective or from a workflow perspective, you know, how do you tie this through? I'm doing a task. I'm in Asana or Trello, but I want to say this task is for a given family member or for a certain entity. Well, my list of entities changes. So how do I tag that in Trello when I don't want to have to keep a separate list in Trello or Asana of my list of entities and then go over to Summitas and keep that list and then go over to my, you know, accounting system and keep that list.
Yeah.
Lists in 10 different places. And yeah, it may only change monthly, but then I every month have to make 10 changes. It's quite cumbersome. And so how do you create these workflows to keep things integrated on these key dimensions or attributes? How do you automate so that you're posting? You know, the family member may see it all as kind of behind the scenes. They don't necessarily know all the ins and outs, but for the office, they certainly have a lot more of a trick on their hands. And then I think, you know, vendor due diligence. How do you know someone is safe? You ask for a SOC report. Well, what the heck is a SOC report? And what does that mean to me? You know, Bill was mentioning that. You know, what are the HR policies? Can the person at that company get in and look at your information if they have the admin passwords and privileges? And so there's now a new level of due diligence that you used to say, well, it was all running here locally. Now, every single one of those applications, I look at a family office and the per application headcount is something I watch. If you look at a bank and you say, well, how many applications does each person at a bank use? It's actually smaller than the number of applications that someone in a single family office will use. A single family office person has to wear so many hats and get into so many applications. And that's tricky for many reasons, the data, the security, and so forth, the education. Obviously, that's gotten better, as I mentioned, with it being intuitive. But I think we have to think about the vendor due diligence. We have to think about that centralized security. We have to think about, now that we're all distributed, right? As Bill mentioned, right? All your endpoints. Well, everybody's getting in on their laptop from home. What did you do to their laptop? Is that their work laptop or is that their home laptop? Is their kid walking by and jumping on to look up something? Are they doing other things on their laptop? How is that controlled and updated? How is their Wi-Fi at home controlled? Do they know the difference of a firewall and a router at their house? Probably not. Most people don't know a switch versus a router versus a firewall. And they just had some tech come in and take care of it. Like, did they ask? Who has that password? Does that tech that walked out, that Verizon or Optimum guy, have their password to their system? Did they change it? I mean, of course, that's all painful and very, very frustrating, but part of our new reality. Right. And you need to have someone, you know, some of it you have to understand. Some of it you just have to appreciate and find the right person to understand it.
And Bill, will the platform